Hello, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the SSF Rumcast. I am, as always, the slightly inebriated Jessica Haynes, and I am joined by my lovely co-host.
Emma Jackson. I'm sober. I didn't go and get myself a
Yeah,
cocktail like I
drink
should have done,
no.
but
There we go.
maybe afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are on week five. Gosh, we're nearly near
Yeah.
our penultimate. We're nearly at the end.
Yeah, we've zoomed through. It
I
feels like we've
know.
zoomed through. Maybe it was because last
It really does.
season was so much longer than our normal
Yeah,
seasons.
we did. We
This
did do a
does,
lot of bits and pieces
yeah.
last
It was
season.
so worth it. I really
It really
enjoyed
was.
it.
Mm.
Yeah, chatting to all of the guests and yeah,
So
doing
if there
our
are
little
authors and
book
people out there and
chats.
want to come and chat to us, please just give us a nudge
Yeah.
because we had a hell of a time.
Yeah, we did. Definitely.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yes, so we're linking back to week four's books,
Mm.
and I can't remember who went where. Do you wanna?
Yeah, so my book last week was A Dead and Stormy Night, and I have linked it to my book this week through like classic fictional characters that reappear, reinvented in with a
Nice,
twist, in Peter Darling by Austin Chant.
excellent work. And my book last week was Pray for Rabbit by Aidan Pierce, and I have gone for, in my opinion, animals that are a bit weird being shifters,
Yeah,
and I have gone
not the
for in.
normal ones,
Well,
are
yeah,
they?
just it's yeah. If you were to say what animal would you like to turn into,
Yeah,
I would imagine most people would go for big, fluffy, scary.
something scary,
Yeah,
scary and strong and with big
yes.
teeth.
But
Yeah.
I have gone for Ensnared by Tiffany Roberts, which is a Spider-Man.
I mean, to be fair, spiders are scary and they do have fangs.
They
They're
do,
just
and they've
not
got many
big,
legs, and they're very
usually.
fast. Well, some
Yeah.
can be, can't they?
Well, yeah, but not like human-sized, thank
Yeah,
God.
no, not. Oh
So
God, oh, no, no.
I'm
Oh, this is
assuming
really.
it's like
He is
humanoid
human size.
size, yeah,
Yes.
or
Oh,
bigger,
so
probably.
weird. This is it. I don't. The one insect I don't do is spiders, and I've picked this book, so it's very weird.
Mm,
Anyway, but yes.
yes,
So,
that is weird. It was like
mm,
me saying about wanting to read The Night and the Moth, and you being like, "Are
mm.
you sure you want to read
Are you sure?
that?" And I
Is
was
this one of
like,
yours?
"Don't know."
Mm.
I'm still going
It's
to
turned.
read it, probably.
Well, yeah, I was like, it's turned me around on giant spider-sized men. If I ever meet one of those, I'd be better. But any little
Mm,
money's running around near my face, no.
still not keen.
Still no.
Okay. So shall I go first with my plot? Oh, we're doing cocktails. I keep forgetting the cocktails.
Cocktails.
You're
Hmm.
the one drinking cocktails and I'm forgetting about them. Um,
What's going on?
okay, so my cocktail is a Mai Tai, which
Ooh, bring me out
is
of the Mai Tai.
yes.
Classic.
Um, yeah, because yes, I will get into the reason I picked it when I'm doing the bits later
Hmm.
on.
That makes
What's your
sense.
one? Yeah.
Mine is called a Black Widow for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons. Yes, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Right. Shall I do my plot
Fire
stuff?
away.
Okay, so my plot bit is going to be like the dark rum that is in a Mai Tai. When you said about rum last week, and I was like, and because you were saying crack and attack, and
Cracking
I
Italian.
still can't with that because that was, of course, a Peter Pan
Oh,
one, wasn't it? With
it was
Hook and
indeed.
Tink, and I that was brilliant. I love that book.
Mhm.
What was it called? Second
Second
Star to the
star
Left.
to the left.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Megan Van Dyke, I think it was.
Yes,
If anyone
she's got
wants
a
to
new
go
one out
back,
actually. Yep.
I think that was Core way back in season
Oh,
two or
way back
three.
when.
Way back. It
Took us
doesn't
seven
feel that long
hours to
ago.
record one
Yeah.
episode.
I think we'd got a little bit better by then. Just a
Yeah.
weeny
Okay, it
bit.
took us 7 hours from start to finish of our conversation and less recording
Yes,
time.
that is true. Yeah. Right. So we are back in Neverland again.
Mm.
Um, and we start with James Hook. He is looking for treasure, as pirates do.
Mm.
But his crew are doing the digging, and he's just sitting there supervising. Um,
Understandably.
and he's a bit bored, if he's honest. He's like a bit, finding the days rolling into each other a little bit. Until suddenly this young man appears. And he's familiar to him, but he can't think where from to begin with. Um, and then he starts kind of walking on air and issuing a challenge to Hook and the pirates and everything, and it clicks. It's like, this is Peter Pan. Because he's been away from Neverland. He left many years ago. I can't remember if it was 7 or 10, something like that. So he's obviously grown up now. He is a young man. He's not a boy anymore. Um, and they get into a little bit of a skirmish, but because it's like so they're so surprised by it kind of thing. It's not really a serious skirmish. It's more just a sort of, ah, I remember you kind of thing. And I
Mhm.
remember what we used to do. And yeah, they have this little bit of a fight. And then Peter goes off. He goes off to find the Lost Boys again. Um, but when he arrives there, so Peter has only just kind of got back. Um, and he finds that everything's changed with the Lost Boys. They're older too. Um, and now they're kind of they've got a new sort of leader in this boy that Peter didn't used to know called Ernest. And he's made a truce with the pirates. So they don't fight anymore, the Lost Boys and the pirates, which Peter is pissed about,
I was
frankly.
gonna
He's like,
say,
this
that's my
is
whole
not
life.
how it goes. This is what are you doing? This is not the point. Um, and I loved how Peter was written because Peter Pan was never one of the ones that I used to watch when I was a kid very much.
No.
Now and again, and honestly, I did used to find Peter Pan quite a brat. I think you're
Yes.
meant to a little bit, aren't you?
Mm.
And he is like that still, enough that it's like so recognizably him, but also, as it develops, it gets even more interesting. So, he kind of challenges Ernest, and Ernest just doesn't really want to fight. He's such a peaceful kind of guy. But one of the Lost Boys is ill, and they need to go to this fairy festival, this kind of ceremony that happens to get this one flower that blooms so that it will cure anything. Um, so Peter's like, okay, I'll go with you then. I'll prove that I still care about the Lost Boys because the accusation is, well, you left them kind of thing. Um, he's like, no, I'll prove I'm back and I want to look after them and I should be the leader,
Mhm.
basically. So they go off together. But along the way, they go from being sort of antagonistic of each other to actually working together. And they get to the festival. Um, and they get to this the flower, but just as they're going to get it, the pirates ambush them. So they're there, of course they are, because
Piratey-Pirates.
it's on now. um so Peter and Hook are having a skirmish again. And there's definitely like these moments of, they're coming alive, they're starting to feel like, life is interesting again because the other one is there, kind of thing. And even though they are fighting properly, there's also these moments of, I quite like you being this close, you
Yes.
know? So it's, yeah.
You smell really
Um,
nice.
yeah. But also, Hook is a full grown man. So Peter isn't always taking the advantage just because he can fly around and stuff.
Ooh.
And the fairies actually intervene because, Peter's always been a bit of a favourite with the fairies. Um, Tink brought him back basically to Neverland. Um, and the Queen of the Fairies sends the pirates off. She is not happy with how Peter has basically disrupted the peace. I think she sends Ernest off with the flower and stuff, but she takes Peter aside and she's like, why have you come back? But obviously, Neverland makes you forget, doesn't it? That's the whole
Yes.
thing. He doesn't remember exactly. He doesn't remember exactly where he went. He doesn't remember exactly why he's come back. And she says, I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to make you remember. Um, And this is where I have to say, like, you really do need to check your trigger warnings for this book.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, it's particularly ones for transphobia, body dysmorphia, and dead naming and stuff
Mm,
like that.
okay.
So basically, he is forced to remember, and what he remembers is he went back home, and at home he was born Wendy. Right.
Okay.
So Wendy Darling, which is why it's Peter Darling is the name of the book. And when he returned to his home, it was not good. They wouldn't accept him as Peter. They wanted him to get married, be the proper little miss. And he was trying really hard to do what they needed to do so he didn't get separated from John and Michael and stuff. But then eventually they got sent off, as boys did, to go to school and to go and live their lives.
Yep, yep.
And it just got so bad for him that it was at this point where he remembered Neverland and he wanted to go back to Neverland and he called for Tink to come and get him. But it was like, and this is why it's like the dark rum. This is why I call it the dark part of it. Um, he wouldn't, he didn't even know if he stepped off of the window ledge, if Neverland was really going to be there and he would fly, or if he would just fall. And he still did it because it was that
Yep.
bad. It was like, I'm still going to try. I'm going to go and do this thing. So that's why he's ended up back in Neverland. Tink took him back, and he's now that the Fairy Queen has made him remember this. It really froze him because he's got all these memories of what it was like, this trauma that he's having to deal with, and coming to terms with who he is now in his new body and everything like that. Um, so the only thing he's like with the Lost Boys, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel the same as it used to. And he goes to find Hook again because it's kind of this anchor point. He knows what's going on when he's there, when he's with Hook, and they're fighting. It's familiar, and it's fun and exciting, and he can be in the present moment. And he goes to find Hook on the Jolly Roger, and they do get into another fight, but this time Hook has him ambushed and he like ties him up and they take him and they throw him to the crocodiles. And it's like, okay, that was a bit more serious than it has been the last couple of times. And then he gets free of that because the mer people help him out and stuff, as they always did with
Mm-hmm.
Peter in Neverland. And then he gets back to the Lost Boys, and there's some pirates that are coming and encroaching on their territory, and they kill them. And then, you know, Hook then sends a warning, and he comes in and he burns down the hideout and everything like that. And some of the Lost Boys get killed. And basically, it all gets really serious. Like the darkness proper creeps in. It's not fun and games anymore. They've grown up and they are having a proper war. And yeah, I'm gonna
You can leave
leave
it
it
there.
there. I'm gonna leave it there just to drive you crazy.
Welcome to episode
Yes.
5 of season 9, where Emma has become Jessica and Jessica has become Emma.
Hmm. Yeah, and last one I had why choose. I'm slowly
I
adopting.
know, you're just morphing.
Yeah.
If one of us turns this way, it's my face, and turn that way, and it's your face.
Yes, that's it, like
Face
that.
off,
Yeah, the what is it? The
face
illusion
off.
with the old woman and the young woman,
Mm.
but it's just
Yes,
us
which is
two.
which?
Yeah.
Which is the Midland and which is the Southerner?
Yeah.
How do you say duck? Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds awesome, actually. I'm just kind of, again, you get so
It's very
invested into
awesome.
this. Mm.
Yeah.
My brain is going, though, Rufio, justice for Rufio.
Yeah, there's no Rufio, I'm afraid.
No,
That
I
is
may
one of the
not have watched Peter
things.
Pan, but Hook was a definite replay
Yeah.
on my list as a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the same for me. Hook,
Yeah,
I watched a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a quotable film, that one is.
Rufio.
Yeah, I want to kind of do a shout out to like fated mates that like Rufio never would.
No.
Derek Craven never would. Okay.
No.
So, what am I doing? Yeah, Spider People. I am doing Ensnared.
Yes. Hmm.
So, okay, so the main bulk of my cocktail is tequila. It makes me happy.
It makes you
Whereas in
happy.
this one, we do not start off with happies. We have a chappie we start with our Spider-Man, whose name is Keaton, I'm going with, who is a spider creature who is returning to his homestead, which all of the people they've the spiders all of them have different jobs within their world. Some are weavers, some are hunters. Yeah, so they've got lots of different things. Keaton spends his life out in the jungle. He's chosen to do that. He does not want to live within the main city where everybody else does. But they all have to go back and they all have to give an offering to their gods and their queen every like moon cycle, however long that is for them. So he is going back with his offering into the tunnels where all of the others live. And he is not a happy bunny. He does not like the Queen. He has not liked the Queen for a long time, and he makes it known. However, the Queen likes him a lot. The Queen is looking for a mate soon, and for a long time, she has her sights set on him. But the main problem he has is that they were at war with kind of another sector a while ago, and they lost a lot of people. Keaton lost both his parents and seven of his siblings.
Mm.
So, and you find out later in the book why this has been and bits and pieces, but I won't go into that now. But yeah, basically, the Queen went to war for reasons that are not justified. It's a very, very flippant reason why she went to war.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
this is shown that Keaton remembers because the gift that he brings to her is the very reason why they went to war. He gives her this type of root and he puts it down and he doesn't say a word. And she's royally pissed off, literally, figuratively. She's very
Yeah.
angry. And it's always been a matriarchal society, so the queen is there. She has a group of females who are called the Fang, and they are kind of her guardians, and they do a lot of her fighting. She has claws as well, which are the men, but they're
Hmm.
kind of the men are much smaller, as with I think probably a lot of spider species.
Yeah.
The females are massive, like 10 foot in human
Wow.
form, whereas the
Mm.
men are kind of 7 foot. And she kind of puts it to him and says, this is, you're the strongest. You are willing to fight me at every turn. I want
Mm.
you for my mate. And he's like, nope, it's not happening. She's
Yeah.
like, the cycle is coming soon. It will
Mm.
be. So he's like, all right. He makes it known he's aware, but he's like, nope. He still goes off, leaves them to it. He's got a few friends who still live there and he chats to them a little bit, but they're kind of like they chat to him as they're leaving and as they're milling around the tunnels and they're like, if you do something, we will back you. And it
Mm.
kind of becomes aware. And while after they've given their things and the men are all leaving, a woman comes up to challenge the queen and she absolutely eviscerates her. And this is like number 11. Somebody who's tried to fight this queen and just got nowhere.
Mm.
And they're like, we will all stand with you. And it's like, it's not going to happen. She's big, she's strong, she's powerful, she's arrogant. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm going to get out to the tangle. I'll bring my stuff as I'm supposed to, but it ain't going to happen. So yeah, the tangle is what they call the jungle, which I loved.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going back out and he finds an animal, this big creature, and it's a lot of meat. It'll feed him, it'll give meat that he can take back to the villages. And it's in this dark part of the woods that nobody ever really goes to because they
Hmm.
think it's haunted. There's like spirits there, there's noises and weird stuff nobody can kind of understand. So nobody really knows what's going on. But he's like, this animal is just here, get it, kill, off I go. But as he's going to get it, there's these like little ferrety creatures and they all kind of jump on the branch that he's on. So they want this creature too, but they jump off and he pings down and he bounces all the way down to the floor in this dark pit, which is probably not as funny to me as it is to him. No other way around.
The
Funny to
other
him
way
as it was
round.
to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
picturing this spider just bouncing down.
Yeah.
But he lands at the bottom and there's this big metal thing. Never seen it before. They have gold and stuff, but they've never seen
Mm.
this. And there's flashing lights and all the weird noises. And he's like, okay, what the, okay. But he's drawn into it. He goes in to have a mooch around, and he thinks it's some sort of tomb because he gets in there and there's skeletons littered all over the floor.
Ooh,
He
yeah.
can't tell. It's a weird long skeleton.
I
He's never seen the creatures before.
I love this idea that the spiders are creeped out by
By
somewhere.
by well, this
Yeah.
is, it's really funny. I'll mention bits of that in my other bits. But yeah, so he goes in and all of these really elongated skeletons with tiny little skulls. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. But he gets drawn deeper and deeper, and he everything is the eights because they're spiders. So their gods are the eight gods, and they have eight times and stuff. So when they count things, it's within an eighth. And he goes into this room, and there's loads of lights, and there's eight green lights. And the eighth green light, he's like, okay, well, what is it? I'm drawn to this one, and there's a person inside, and he's going to stick in his face in this pale creature with blonde hair and these massive black spiders with purple eyes, puts his face against it and opens a cryo chamber, and this
Right.
body flops out, and he's like, oh, okay, what the hell is this? Is this dinner? Is it not dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it smells quite interesting, always with the smells. Smell the smells.
Yeah. We're like
Yeah.
right back to episode one,
Yeah,
aren't we?
all the
Are you
smells.
prey or are you
Oh, you pray.
predator? What's going on?
This is it. But he picks her up, and it is female. Yeah, he's intrigued. She's got these things at the front. He's never seen these before, and he's got two legs,
Always
not all
those.
the
They're
legs. Yeah.
always fascinating, aren't they?
Yes, very much so. And yeah, only two legs with the what's going on with that? It's a weird one. He's got six legs and four arms, but I think some
Oh,
of the
okay.
top set of arms are maybe the pincery things.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, so he's got loads of legs. She's
God.
not, but he sort of carries her along and takes her to his den. And this is Ivy. Now Ivy, bless her, she's been put to the cryogenic sleep because she's had a bit of a shitty time down on Earth. Um, she was born to older parents. She has a brother who was like 14 years her senior, and
Mm.
she was kind of like an accident. So her parents have kind of been and done their job, but they had her and they kind of didn't really put much time and thought and effort
Yeah.
into her because, they'd done theirs. They were retiring and they
Mm.
wanted to go off and do their own things and all of the
Yeah.
other stuff. So she's kind of been left to her own devices quite a lot, which made her a little bit rebellious, a little bit interested. They were also quite a religious family. And then she found this boy in high school and he was offering her the world. And so she kind of left the family behind. And then things happen with this boy. So when she's kind of offered this deal to get on this ship and go to another world, she kind of like, yeah, this is our new
Okay.
start. And
Hmm.
it takes 60 years to get from Earth to wherever they're going. So she's like, well, yeah, basically, when I wake up, everybody will be dead. They're probably not going to miss me. It's fine.
Mm.
So that's where she is. So she wakes up thinking that not much time has passed, even though she knows physically that years have passed. She wakes up
Yeah.
thinking she's going to be on this new planet. Everything's going to be getting better. And she's
Hmm.
looks around and she's cradled in four arms of a giant Spider-Man.
Wow.
And she goes absolutely ballistic, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of tries to calm her down and shut her up because he thinks that every single predator in the entire jungle is going to come for them.
Yeah.
But the opposite happens. They all start running away because she's so loud.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they get back to the den. And basically from there, it's so she's English. He speaks his own language, but he also has clicks and snickers and other little mouth noises that spiders will make. I don't know what you would call them.
Hmm.
So big language barrier to start with. But he's the alien to us, but to him she is obviously.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, well, she's nice and she's fun and she's fine. She's not food, so she's a pet. So he
Yeah.
takes her upstairs and he's like, well, I'll make sure that I wash her and I feed her and she's looking a bit thin.
Oh,
But this
yeah.
is it. So they start to try and communicate a bit. So she's obviously intelligent. But one night he goes to sleep and she really needs a wee and his nest is quite high. And she's like patting him to wake him up. And he's like, no, just go away, just leave it to it. And she wets herself on the floor.
Oh,
And then he sort of
nasty.
picks her up like a bad dog and carries her down and throws her in the river to clean her up. And it just, yeah, it's really interesting to see the back and forth with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that. But yeah, so they start to kind of get to know each other over time. And it is a slow burn. It's a trilogy of their story. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Proper slow burn then.
yeah, so it is a real slow burn. But basically, the more they get to know each other, the more the language barrier sort of breaks down. They start chatting. He sees her more as an actual person rather than the
Yeah.
pet. She sees him as kind of not just the protector. Because obviously, anywhere we've said before, humans generally are bags of squishy danger. We can't
Yes.
go anywhere. Small newborns, pointless things never survive. Children never survive. Adults
Yeah.
probably never survive in any sort of hostile
Yeah.
environment.
Hmm.
But yeah, she starts to learn. He starts to teach her, and they kind of become their individual people. And yeah, they get to like each other. Keaton has to keep going back to deliver food and give offerings and stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets cornered the last time he goes back by the Queen in like
Ooh.
what used to be his old den,
Yeah.
and he's making a dress for Ivy because she's kind of her clothes are getting a bit thin, and he's making her a silk dress of his own
Oh.
silk because he used
Yeah.
to be a weaver, but he had to be a fighter
Mm.
with the wars. And the Queen comes in and says, "Okay, you've got like a week to turn up. If you don't,
Eesh.
I know who your sister is." So his sister works as part of the Fang. He's like, "I know who your sister is. I know where she lives. I know where your mates
Yeah.
all live. Just so you know, if you don't turn up, who knows what will happen." So he goes back with the dress and he has to make the decision what he's going to do, whether he's going to stay with Ivy or he's going to go back to the Queen. And he decides to
Mm.
stay with Ivy. And then
Ooh.
somebody's sent from the Queen because he misses the date of the mating. And I will
Hmm.
leave it there.
You did it to me.
Did
Now I'm
indeed.
like,
What's happening in the Queen? And the... Yep.
oh
So,
my. Okay. That sounds so different. That's always
hmm
the thing with these books that have been around such a long time. And you got like this idea of what they're going to be like, and then you
yeah.
go and read them, and then
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
it's like,
that's
oh,
not what I
this.
thought it was going to be at
No.
all. I really didn't think it would be such a slow burn
That this
either.
was it. I didn't. I thought the three books because when you started reading it, there's him and he's got two friends, and he kind of chats to them in the tunnels, and you're like, well, it's that one, that one, that one. And when you get to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
end of the first one, and you're like, okay, the cliffhanger,
No.
in it. Where's it? Oh, okay, next one.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. If you can't cope with that, my one is not a series and it's not like cliffhangers and stuff
Oh, is
like
it
that. It's contained, it's
all in?
standalone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you will probably want to read it in like a day or two as well. It'll be
Yeah.
like,
So wait till half term's over and you've got some chill out
yes.
time.
Exactly. So obviously I covered the dark rum, and in a Mai Tai you have dark rum and you have golden rum or light rum, however you want to
Hmm
say it, which I felt was quite well suited to this because even though you've got such a lot of darkness and difficulty and trauma that they're having to deal with, um, that just makes the happily ever after all that much sweeter, I
Yes.
think, really. And it also goes with the enemies to lovers vibe, I think, too, because you have that darkness of enemies and then, the lightness of getting
The
to lovers. And
beloved.
again, we've talked about this before, haven't we? How there's something when it's done like really, really well, enemies to lovers, just it's such a like a unique relationship and dynamic that you get between the two, and I think this really showcased that well. So it's quite hard because this is quite a tight story. Like not only is it standalone, it's on the shorter side of a novel. So everything is like really interwoven. You can't really talk about much about it without like going into most of the details of what happens. So, spoilers if no one wants to know. I mean, obviously, we always say we talk about romances and there are happily ever afters,
We
and we know
spoil it
this.
loads.
We spoil it and then we
Sorry.
just trip up
Yeah.
into spoilers. But yeah, it just they the war that kicks off between them, it like really, really escalates and it gets like proper serious to the point where they're like raising a kraken from the deep to like deal with like Hook is raising this crack. He's like abducted all the Lost Boys to trap Peter to get Peter to come so that he can then like it will only raise from the deep when it like gets the taste of the blood and then it won't stop until it is sated kind of thing. And so they're
Terminator.
in these caverns and you know Peter goes there to rescue the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys turn on him somewhat, and then like some of the others don't. It's like all twisty turny, backstabby, proper war going on. He stabs Hook. The blood gets in the water. The Kraken raises. Everybody's fleeing. There's like everything's falling down, and Peter and Hook get like trapped in there together. And it's this time that they're stuck in there together where they start to realize what they've done, how far they've gone, and then like kind of call like a temporary truce with each other. And, they're having to kind of look after each other and discuss things. Oh, I won't even go into that. There was another bit I've forgotten, which makes it even, yeah, even more difficult. But, yeah, and they're trying to find a way out of this cavern system together and it just they start to realize along the way how much the presence of the other one means to them and also the attraction that's there too that neither one of them want to like openly admit. And also for Peter these are quite new feelings. Like Hook is he's had a lover before. Peter's just killed. Um, so, um, yeah, then, but when they when they get out and things develop and they realize stuff about Neverland as well, and there's like I always like a quote, and I've got a quote for this one, and this is Peter thinking about Hook, and it's everyone else had followed him at his best, at his worst tried to stop him or change him. Hook had matched him and never tried to protect Peter. He'd always done his worst, and that was what felt so good. So it's like really important to their dynamic that like Hook's always seen him as an adversary, which kind of brings like this level of respect that you get between enemies that's
Hmm.
different, isn't it? There's like that thing about the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. So
Yes.
when there's hate, you can understand that this person really sees you
Yeah,
and
there's still passion there with it.
they
It's
take
just
you
a different sort
seriously.
of. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And I think all of that darkness as well makes it all the sweeter when they decide together that despite the difficulties, because Hook's got his own reasons for being in Neverland too, um, despite all of that, they go back together, even though they know that the real world is not going to be easy and accepting of them, but they want to do it. And it's just really beautifully done. It's so, yeah, it was awesome, awesome read. Definitely.
We
So
need
that
to
was
give some.
my golden rum type bit.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to give people some rounds of applause this season. It's been,
Yeah,
yes, good,
definitely.
good books.
Hmm.
Okay, so my two kind of interlink. So I may kind of, I'll try not to merge back and forth too much. Okay, so I've got my tequila was the front bit. I've got some pomegranate juice. And then I've got some like sugar spun nests on the top for my sweetness, but
Yeah.
we'll do that bit in a minute.
Oh, nice.
So my pomegranate juice is it's kind of to do with the world building and the planetary and physical differences because it was kind of quite a slow build. There was loads of it in there.
Yeah.
And what I really liked was was how it was done, because obviously you get the physical differences between the human and the spider and but it was the world building, that stuff that Ivy's walking around and she's seeing the birds and she's fishing with him, and she's like, I'm calling them fish because they're in the water, but they're not bloody fish. And there's
Yeah.
these birds, but they ain't bloody birds. And it's just, you don't ever think of this when you go to this distant planet. If you think of something
Yeah.
flying through the sky and go, it's a bird, it's not
Yeah.
like a seagull, it's like a
Hmm.
pterodactyl type thing.
Oh
And
my
it just,
God.
yeah, it
Yeah.
really made me stop and think that he makes her, because he's massive, he's got a spear and he's trying to teach her to fish. And she's
Right.
there with this like 10-foot spear. And you've got to try and think of the fish that you're going to
Yeah.
catch with this thing. And
Oh.
it was just, yeah, that all of that kind of stuff was really interesting. And then how do
Mm.
you... So Keaton has a sausage pocket again.
No,
He
not another
does.
one.
He's got his
Yeah.
sausage pocket and he has all
Oh.
the feels in that. Yeah, but then trying to link something that is as tiny as a spider in our world to make
Mm.
it human sized, and to
Yeah.
kind of stop and think of that and how you would then get the dynamics of putting that and a human together. And it's just
Yeah.
really, it's so well done with that, that you can kind of,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, you can kind of picture it. And I can't even think how long it must have
Hmm.
taken to
Yeah.
physically
Figure it
have
all out.
yeah, a man with the thorax and the
I
spinnerety
just
things. And
love that this is people's jobs. I
yes,
love it.
yeah. So yeah, you must imagine when you go, look, well, we've got Meet Cute coming up, and you're going to sit in a room
Yeah.
with like however many people, and just wondering what their brain is ticking over, going, would I
Yeah.
have the leaves the size of a human? Would they eat a human? Would they be? And this is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting to sort of stop and think what can be going through somebody's head.
Brilliant. Yeah. My last one is kind of a similar thing in that it's about like the world and how it's built
Mm.
and stuff. So it's like the lime juice and the orange liqueur that gives it all of like the fruitiness. And that's because like Netherland is just described so vibrantly. Like everything about it is brought to life in just how you would imagine the most fantastical island full of all the different jungle and the seas and the mer people and the weather and like the fairies. Interestingly enough, Tink is like a little moth. They're like little insects, and they've
Bless
got
you.
all these different. Yeah, I was like, oh, really? Hmm.
Mm. Yeah.
Never particularly liked Tink. No, it's fine.
He's doubled down on it now.
She grew on me, bless her. Um, yeah, it's just it it really draws you in and you like can believe these massive tales are happening and the way the island reacts to stuff as well is really interesting and plays into it too because it's sort of yeah, I won't go into that as a spoiler, but like the island is alive in a way as well. So it's just really, really cool.
It's interesting because fantasy, with fantasy you have a lot of creatures and you have a lot of fae.
Hmm.
So forest is the
Yeah.
go-to.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, and
definitely.
trying to find a way to make it different. It's.
Yes. Yeah, we discussed this, didn't we? Like, oh,
Mm.
you're describing fronds and bracken
Yes,
and
yeah, I
you
know
know.
what a frond is now because I'm trying to find this image in my head,
Yeah,
and it's just,
this is
yeah,
it. I'm not a green outdoorsy person. Like I
no,
like forests to be in, but I do not know what anything is called. So it's
God,
hard
no.
work trying to write it. And it's lovely when I read it. I love reading it. If
Yeah,
someone's,
and
you
somebody's put
know,
that spin on it.
I feel like I'm learning. It's
I'm
educational as well
learning.
as yes, exactly.
Bless
But
them.
yeah.
All right, yeah. My last little bit, my little sugary spun nest on the top is language barriers.
Yeah.
So, so within this, because they both speak a language, so to speak, they speak a language rather than it just being growls and grunts, though there are clicks and stuff.
Mm.
They do the I Tarzan you Jane kind of thing, and they
Yeah.
do. get it quite quickly.
Cool.
But there are certain sounds that she can't make, and vice versa. So he's got like, so she has lips and she's human, you know what we look like.
Yeah.
But he's got quite a smooth face. If you don't, then go watch season
What's
one to
going
eight.
on? Yeah.
But yeah, he's got quite a smooth face and he's like no lips, and he's just kind of got like a, he has a tongue and like a, I don't even know, like a slit, which
Yeah.
is not the word I want to use, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
So he can make certain noises that she can't. And
Of
it
course
gets
he's
quite,
got a tongue. Of course
yeah,
he's got a tongue.
yeah,
He
of
could
course he
not have a
has.
tongue. It's
And
not
all
for
of his
speaking that he's
hands,
got the reason.
it's for other things.
Yes.
But yeah, and so there are words, she's been saying this word to him for a little bit and he giggles. And she's like, but okay, this is it. Why are you laughing? And he goes, because the word you're mispronouncing means cock. And every time you
Yeah.
say it, you're saying cock at me. And it's really
Yeah.
funny.
Uh-huh.
And it's just little things like that. And then
Yeah.
she'll say, so, da, 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 da. And he goes, you're just saying cock, cock now. So it's
Yeah.
more funny. And yeah, it's, yeah. So just
I love
bits
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is when the
That's
smells and the
awesome.
feels and stuff come in because it then has to go
Yeah.
back to that at certain point. It's she's saying this to me, and he goes, "That doesn't make any sense." But she doesn't smell that she's scared. I think she gets pissed off with him for some point, and he's
Yeah.
like, "That doesn't even make any sense what you're saying. Those words don't go together." And she's like, "Well, I'm angry. I'm just going this way." But yeah,
Yeah.
very
Oh,
sweet.
that sounds very cool.
It goes all the way back to number one, yeah, the with the dragons and the not
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah, that's it.
We're
And I thought
regressing.
I wouldn't say it's regressing, but
Well,
it's seeing all the lovely
yes,
relationships between things. It's
yes.
definitely like, that thing we were talking about in that we know there's no people don't own particular things. They come
Oh
up
God,
in
no.
all
Oh
different
no.
ways and are dealt with in all different
Mm.
ways, and it's brilliant to read
To see
them.
a new spin on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. Okay. Well, that is the last of our individual picks. We did it. We got here.
We did.
But what are our links to go into our final book? So
Okay. So,
yeah, it
also, do you want
is.
to go?
Yeah, we can if I remember the author's name right, it's The Wolf King, isn't it? By
Yes.
Laura Paul Freeman. Is that
Hmm.
right? Yeah. Is that
I
how we
have
say it?
Lauren. I have
Oh,
Lauren.
Lauren. It's Lauren.
Yeah.
Yes. I've
Paul
written it wrong.
Freeman is where I
Paul
was going.
Freeman.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
fine. Sorry, not Laura, Lauren.
Yes.
Um, yes, and my link is very simple, like I have mentioned before. It's the enemies
Yes.
to lovers aspect.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I went horrible histories. Mine was going to be rubbish royals, but basically they're arsehole royals generally.
Yes, that's
Rubbish royals.
fair. Yeah, does
Yeah.
sound it. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
rubbish royalty is my link.
Awesome. So we'll be back next week with our final book that we'll be
We will
chatting about
indeed.
together.
Excellent work.
Yay.
So
Awesome.
yes, we will see you next week, hopefully. And yeah,
Yes.
all the socials, you know how to find us. If you don't
Yeah.
want to, then just join us back next week.
And you can go back and find our other episodes as
You
well.
can regress too.
I meant to mention that I've started to put together some playlists on our YouTube channel of
Ooh,
different ones that are like, like linking them together. So, like a playlist for all of our sci-fi romances, because, we don't do those as much. So, I've pulled those
no.
all together if you're interested in finding those.
Also send
I
us
think
more if you want. It's fine.
yeah, whatever
All
you'd
of it.
like a playlist of. I've also done like cozy kind of fantasy ones, and there are more than you think. They're mostly mine. It's okay.
There are
You,
dark ones,
I've done a
mostly Emma's.
why choose list. I've done a why choose list too. So yeah, maybe a retelling one might be a good one
That would be
because
quite cool.
I could kind of go off our tropes as well,
Yeah.
because we have our trope season and our episodes, but then we also have like where we've mentioned different ones that would fit in other ones. So, yeah, if you've got any ideas for those and you'd like a playlist for it, let me know and I'll try
Give
and
us a
pull
nudge.
it
Cool,
together.
cool.
Yeah, right. It was lovely to have you. And we'll see
Indeed.
you
Till
soon.
next time.
Bye.